The U. plans to buy 3 million barrels of sour crude oil for its Strategic Petroleum Reserve, SPR, in August, as part of a long-term plan to replenish the emergency stockpile that was depleted by the war in Ukraine and sales mandated by Congress. The SPR is a U. government complex of 4 sites with deep underground storage caverns created in salt domes along the Texas and Louisiana Gulf coasts. It is the world's largest supply of emergency crude oil and was established to reduce the impact of disruptions in oil supplies and to carry out international energy obligations. The SPR can hold up to 727 million barrels of oil, split into sour and sweet types, and is close to many refineries and distribution points. The SPR was filled to its then 727 million barrel authorized storage capacity on December 27, 2009, but since then it has been reduced by several factors. The war in Ukraine, which started in 2014, disrupted the supply of Russian oil to Europe and increased the demand for oil exports. The U. government authorized several sales of SPR oil to support Ukraine and other allies, as well as to fund various domestic programs. As of March 8, 2023, the SPR inventory was 594.7 million barrels, equivalent to approximately 1,206 days of supply of total U. petroleum net imports. To restore the SPR to its full capacity and ensure its readiness for future emergencies, the U. government announced a plan to buy 3 million barrels of sour crude oil for the SPR in August 2023. Sour crude oil is a type of oil that has a high sulfur content and is more difficult to refine than sweet crude oil. Sour crude oil is cheaper than sweet crude oil and is more abundant in the global market. The U. government plans to buy sour crude oil from various sources, including Canada, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. The purchase of sour crude oil for the SPR will benefit the U. economy and national security in several ways. It will help stabilize the oil market and reduce price volatility by increasing the supply of oil available for emergencies. It will also diversify the SPR's portfolio of oil types and sources, making it more flexible and adaptable to different situations. Moreover, it will support the U. refining industry, which has invested heavily in upgrading its facilities to process sour crude oil more efficiently. The U. government's plan to buy sour crude oil for the SPR in August is part of a long-term strategy to replenish the emergency stockpile that was depleted by the war in Ukraine and sales mandated by Congress. The plan aims to enhance the U.S. energy security and resilience, as well as its global leadership and influence in the oil market. Canada's wildfires have had a significant impact on the country's oil and gas production, especially in Alberta, the main crude-producing province. According to Reuters, Alberta declared a state of emergency on Saturday in response to the wildfires that have displaced nearly 30,000 people and prompted energy producers to shut in at least 280,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day, BOPD, more than 3% of Canada's output. The fires primarily affected light oil and natural gas producers, who shut in operations as a precaution. There have been no reports of injuries or damage to facilities so far. The wildfires have also disrupted the power supply in Alberta, as some transmission lines and power plants were damaged by the flames. According to Dawn, more than 100 wildfires have raged this month, at one point pushing more than 30,000 people out of their homes while oil and gas producers shut in at least 319,000 BOPD. The province's electricity system operator said it was working to restore power to affected areas as soon as possible. The situation is expected to worsen as the weather forecast shows no sign of rain for the next 10 days or so. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith said it could be months before all the blazes are brought under control. She also announced emergency payments of $1,250 Canadian dollars, $935, for Albertans forced to evacuate for 7 days or longer. Smith said she had spoken with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who visited Alberta on Monday and offered federal assistance, including military help. Canada is the world's fourth largest crude producer, and about 80% of its oil comes from Alberta. The wildfires have caused a drop in Canadian natural gas exports to the United States, which fell to 6.7 billion cubic feet per day, BCFD, on Sunday, the lowest since April 2021, according to Refinitiv data. The fires have also raised concerns about the environmental impact of oil and gas production in Alberta, which has been criticized for its high greenhouse gas emissions and water use. The wildfires in Alberta, Canada's main oil province, have been raging for more than a week, forcing thousands of people to evacuate their homes and disrupting the country's energy production. The fires have shut in at least 280,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day, BOPD, more than 3% of Canada's output, as companies have closed wells and pipelines to protect their facilities and workers. This has reduced the supply of light oil and natural gas, which are used for refining and power generation. The impact of the fires on the global oil market is uncertain, as it depends on how long the production will be offline and how much spare capacity other producers have. However, some analysts expect the fires to support oil prices in the short term, as they reduce the glut of crude that has been weighing on the market for months. The Canadian government has declared a state of emergency and requested federal assistance to fight the fires, which are expected to worsen over the weekend due to hot and dry weather conditions. The Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has pledged to support Alberta in its recovery efforts and said he was monitoring the situation closely. The wildfires are also a reminder of the environmental risks and challenges that Canada's oil industry faces, as it tries to balance economic growth with climate action and social responsibility.